If revenue is completely offsetting miner emissions, where does the sell pressure even come from? Does this mean that I YOLO all my alpha into that this is an absolutely historic moment in Bittensor? The first Flywheel subnet. Hey, this is Travis. Today I am extremely excited because we actually have the very first subnet that is able to completely offset its miner emissions through revenue. It was not the subnet that I expected to do it first, but I am so excited to talk about it. And what's next? Like, what's the future of Bittensor now that we have an example of a subnet that is able to offset its miner emissions with revenue? Now, I'm talking about Bitcast, subnet number 93. It's the subnet that I mine. It's the subnet that pays content creators for creating videos or making X posts or retweets. Now, of course, I'm paying a lot of attention to this subnet in particular because I mine it. And I think there's just a lot that isn't visible that the Bittensor community might not be aware of. So I'm just going to go through a whole bunch of stuff in this video. I don't have too much planned, but there's so much I want to talk about here. So number one, Bitcast has repeat customers now. After the success of their very first brief, BitGet has purchased another brief, and they've doubled their budget this time. And that's because their very first brief did so well that BitGet wants to throw more money at Bitcast. And I actually have an ad coming up, and I'll get paid according to the number of views I get on this video. But the amount that I get paid in miner emissions will essentially be coming from the sponsor. And sure, the mechanism for delivering that is going to be through miner emissions, but Bitcast's alpha token has been bought back using the funds to pay for the sponsorship in this video. And to me, that's really exciting because it means that there's very little sell pressure from miners on the subnet. Like, even if I was to sell all of the alpha tokens that I'm getting from mining Bitcast, that would be offset by the customer paying for the sponsorship. So I think we'll see a theme in this video of where is the sell pressure on Bitcast, because it's not coming from miners. So as promised, today's video is sponsored by BitGet. BitGet's stock perps are now part of BitGet's universal exchange. BitGet's stock perps are the world's first tokenized stock perpetual contracts. You can now long or short the biggest names in global equities using crypto, using USDT. There's no brokerage account, no market hours, and no limits. And these markets are open 24/7. So through BitGet's universal exchange, you can get access to stocks, crypto, commodities, DeFi, and TradFi, all in one app. So if you want access to Tesla or Nvidia trading, using your crypto open anytime to trade, I think it makes just a lot of sense to use BitGet for that. Now, new traders get $10 in USDT from their first order. So head over to bitget.com. There's a link in the description. So because I just did that ad, this video is now monetized. And it's monetized at like 20 to 50 times what YouTube would pay me for their ads. Now, I want to talk a little bit about how I'm paid. So this here is the description about what I needed to do to get this video monetized and what sorts of things that I should highlight in the ad. And then what happens is that they pay me out in US dollar terms using their alpha token. And so maybe they're going to pay me out a couple $100 for a video. What they'll do is they'll convert that USD into the alpha token and then give me that alpha token. And so yes, miners will convert it back to USD. But the important part here to think about is that miners are essentially paid in USD on the subnet. And of course, brands advertise by paying USD as well. And so what you can see with this video in particular is they have $12,000 up for grabs. This is $12,000 worth of emissions that is going to go to miners. And of course, this $12,000 came from BitGet. So over time, this brief budget will be reduced until it's down to zero, and then no miners are going to get paid for it anymore. So let's look at the last one that they did. So this was, they had a $7,000 budget and content creators earned around $5,000 of it. So if they're taking $12,000 from their customer, they're using that to buy $12,000 worth of alpha, and then there's $12,000 distributed to miners for this particular brief. There's really no sell pressure from miners on the token, right? Because it balances out with the buybacks. And one of the efficiencies of Bitcast that isn't really well known unless you're mining it is that all the negotiation between content creators and sponsors, that's all done by the subnet owner. So it just makes my job so much easier. I don't have to focus on negotiating rates with somebody, and I don't have to manage multiple relationships with different exchanges or sponsors. You know, some of them are going to be flaky. Some of them are going to not offer very much in the end. I had one exchange exchange in particular that reached out to me on Twitter and said, hey, we'll pay you $100 to, do this tweet. And I looked at it and I went, Bitcast has the same offering. If we go to Bitcast on X here, you can see the different briefs that are complete and which ones are live and whatnot. This is basically the same thing as I was offered by that exchange where they're, offering my $100 to do a tweet about something. And I thought about it and I was like, I would much rather just tweet about something that Bitcast wants me to tweet about, something that is relevant to my audience, and also that I don't have to do any of that negotiation. I don't have to figure out how I'm going to get paid. Like all of that is already part of my process. And it's a part of my process no matter what sponsor I go with, no matter what brand that I'm going to be talking about. They all work the same way. So I really just had to learn how Bitcast works. And that got me access to a whole bunch of sponsors. Now, of course, a lot of these sponsors are subnets, but we are starting to see that open up to other cryptos, other exchanges outside of just Bittensor. So I'll tell you one thing that I don't like about Bitcast, and that is that they're paying out a lot less to miners now than they used to. And this is because the subnet owner is now conscientious about how much they're giving out to miners, and they're pegging that against USD. And so I'm getting paid well, but it's not as good as I used to get paid on the subnet. And so as a miner, that makes me a little bit sad. But as an investor, that is just fantastic. They're not bleeding a whole bunch of money, paying way too much for their miners to do something. They're being very conscientious about it. And I just want to go through the various incentive mechanisms that they have at play here. So if you go to dashboard.bitcast.network here, you'll see all of the YouTube briefs or ads that we've gone through so far. Most of them are complete here. You'll see this format column here. There's dedicated for most of them. There's ad read, and then there's integration. So ad read and integration are basically the same thing. Those in particular are the ones where the revenue is offsetting miner emissions. And then also on x.bitcast.network, you can see all of the X post briefs here. And again, for all of these, the revenue matches miner emissions. And then finally, the dedicated videos. Now, these ones are just for Bittensor subnets, and the subnet owner does actually pay for these briefs. However, it's not quite enough to cover the emissions. And this was a decision by the Bitcast subnet owner to help support Bittensor. But if they wanted to tomorrow, they could just turn off these dedicated briefs. They could stop doing them. And then all of their miner emissions is offset by buybacks. So now I'm just really wondering if revenue is completely offsetting miner emissions, where does the sell pressure even come from? You look at all the other subnets. None of them are completely offsetting their miner emissions. And many of them have a higher price than Bitcast right now. But that got me thinking, even if Bitcast's price goes up, if its alpha token's price goes up, or maybe I should say when its alpha token price goes up, even then, I'm getting paid in basically US dollar terms. And all the miner emissions that I get are in US dollar terms, and they're net neutral, right? So even as the price of Bitcast's alpha token climbs, where's the sell pressure? And to really illustrate what that looks like, I've got a graph here of the miner burn percentage over time on Bitcast. And just to address this middle area here, the subnet owner here was taking the excess, the emissions that would have been burned and putting it all into a wallet instead. And I think they're using that wallet to pay out, the X tweets here. So you can basically ignore this part in the middle. But what I want to draw your attention to here is that, the miner burn on the subnet has been really high historically, right? So, we're burning between, 70 and 95%. There have been some drawdowns here in the amount that has been burned. And that's just because some larger creators are starting to mine Bitcast now. And these are larger payouts to those bigger creators, right? So every time that we see the miner burn percentage dip, that's because a big video dropped a few days before and they're starting to pay out that creator. So the way that I interpret this graph here is that the orange part here, this is emissions that didn't go anywhere. These are miner emissions that were burnt. And the big dips here, this is when a large video came out and was paid quite a lot. I think the main thing to kind of interpret from this graph is the orange part here. This is how much they could be giving to miners, but instead they're burning it because miners weren't productive, say, in this period. They weren't putting out as many videos. But during these periods here, miners were very productive. They had a lot of views on their videos. And so Bitcast had to pay them out more, but they're being very conscientious about not paying miners who are not productive and not just emitting willy-nilly, right? You have to be productive in order to get the alpha token for Bitcast. And so this is just really exciting to me, right? We're actually at that point with Bitcast where we have Subnet, where their revenue is matching miner emissions. Now that we have miner emissions offset by revenue, what if they paid miners a little bit less? Actually, they just announced the other day that they're paying us a little bit less. But if you're paying your miners less now, and that extra, say 10%, can go to offset some of the emissions to, say, the Subnet owner, or maybe the Subnet owner doesn't plan to sell for a bit, and now we have like a 10% buy pressure on the Subnet. Now, they haven't said that they're going to do that, but now I'm thinking about what's next. Now that we've matched emissions to revenue, what's the next phase for a mature Subnet? Now, I know that Bitcast is run by two brothers, and I think they've brought a third person on board now, and they're starting to expand their team a bit. This will allow them to make more briefs, to bring in more revenue, to get more views, and the flywheel just starts up, right? And so Bitcast is in this really unique position where they can actually do that, right? Where they can actually say, all right, we're turning this into a flywheel. We're going to pay our miners a little bit less. It's still way more than I could get anywhere else. And we're going to take that extra and we're going to use it to boost our alpha price. And of course, that means that there's now buy pressure on the alpha token, but also buy pressure on Bittensor Tau. Because the brands, they send US dollars and then that needs to be converted into Tau. You need to buy Tau in order to buy the alpha token. And I think what will happen is that as the price of Bitcast goes up, again, there's not really any sell pressure for it. And so more Tau will be put into the Bitcast's subnet pool through Tau flow. And again, that revenue is being bought back. So there's very little sell pressure on the subnet. And then as the subnet gets more emissions into its pool, it will become harder for other less performant subnets to get Tau into their pool. And so more of the value of Tau is going to be kind of wrapped up in Bitcast's pool. Then I think what happens is that there becomes less sell pressure on Tau because you have to buy Tau in order to get the alpha token. If we look at Tau Flute here with the price going down here, descending, we can see Bitcast here. And I think we just don't know what will happen as Bitcast's price increases because we've just never seen this before, right? We've never seen a subnet that has offset all of its miner emissions and is still productive. And so looking a little bit more deeply at the subnet here, I see no real red flags here. They actually, of course, do have an X account here. The way that the X account loads on Tau stats is a little bit janky right now, so sometimes that just doesn't show. But looking at the owner wallet activity here, the yellow ones are transfers into this wallet. So I think back here when they transferred in nearly 300 Tau, they purchased the slot with that, and then they've taken a few withdrawals over the last year. And that actually looks pretty reasonable to me to cover dev costs. I actually expected them to have withdrawn a little bit more. This is the number of code lines per day. They had a giant commit here in August, so I'm just going to zoom in on this part. And it looks like they're making a large code change every few months, it looks like. And of course, their team activity on Discord is quite lively. And then I just wanted to scroll down here and look at the burn percentage of circulating supply. So this is the total amount of alpha in circulating supply and how much of that has been burned. And you can see that it actually is going up. So they're burning more and more all the time on the subnet. And of course, a lot of that is due to the high miner burn percentage. And of course, that is due to paying out miners in USD terms through their alpha token. And then, of course, we can look at the manual burns here. So these are the burns where the subnet owner has decided to burn alpha that they own, usually in the form of a buyback. In this case, for this subnet here, remember how earlier I had said, like, don't look at this miner burn percentage on the subnet, this void here? Well, that's because they ended up burning most of that. And you can see that by this giant burn of like 160,000 alpha that they burned here. But let's look before that. And you can see here that they actually do periodic manual burns with the revenue that they get from brands. And so looking at their chart really quickly, they registered around here, price descended for a while, and then there was a couple bumps up, and then they had this big peak here, and now we're down around 60% or so. Now I'll say that this area here, this is all speculative hype. And then now throughout this period here, they've been releasing their 3 incentive mechanisms that are miner emission neutral, right? So myself, I'm going, where's the sell pressure on this subnet? Even if it was at a price of 0.1 Tau, even at that price, where is the sell pressure? Miners are still getting paid in US dollar terms. And so all of this orange part here, this is miner sell pressure that didn't happen because it wasn't given to miners. And then the black part above the orange here, that emission is being offset by revenue. I just found out that they are offsetting miner emissions plus 10%. So as I said earlier in the video, I was like, oh, this is an idea. Maybe they'll do this. Well, I guess that's what they are doing for ad reads and integrations now. And they say that they could actually grow that as well. Right now, I guess they're prioritizing network growth instead of profit, even though they are profitable. And I also found out that the profit margins on sponsored X campaigns are about 30% relative to miner emissions. So they're profiting 30% above what they're paying out to miners. To me, it seems likely that Bitcast's price will go up. And then as that price goes up, it becomes more of the total emissions the Tau is emitting. And then doesn't that cause less sell pressure on Tau? So I'm really curious what your thoughts are. Let me know in the comments. Don't forget to like and subscribe. And what do you think the next stage for a subnet is after they offset their miner emissions? Like, what's the next goal after that? Because we've now hit this one. Like, what does this mean? Like, does this mean that I YOLO all my alpha into Bitcast? Okay, so I've had some time to process, and I'm realizing that this is an absolutely historic moment in Bittensor. The first Flywheel subnet. Like, we talk about historic moments in Bittensor as in like dynamic Tau and the halving, but this is it. Like, this is the vision coming together of how can you create crypto flywheels with sane tokenomics and, decentralized global competition to produce the best videos. Like, this is it. This is what I wanted to see out of Bittensor. So yeah, I'm really hyped to see what happens next. Now the real race is on, because we've got all these other subnets that, the price is going up and down like crazy, a lot of speculation. But now we have a subnet that is speculation plus buy pressure. And that buy pressure comes from profit on the subnet. I think eventually that buy pressure makes the alpha token price go up. And I think the only way for other subnets to compete with that increase in value is to do the same thing, is to create their own flywheels. So now the pressure is on for the other subnets. And it's just so exciting to see. The other thing is, this is just the first, we've only just seen the first successful subnet, the first subnet that is able to completely offset their miner emissions with revenue. So what's next? Like, what's the next crazy idea for offsetting miner emissions? The sky's the limit as far as what a subnet owner can come up with to drive value to their alpha token.